Now I'm
Let me
recording.
go to. I'm coming. Let me go to the.
Should I share my screen?
No, not
Oh,
yet.
It's allowed me to share my screen as well.
No, come.
You're presenting?
Yeah, we have a few new faces, so I wanted to
Okay.
just run through yesterday, and then make it to the screen. Okay.
Yeah, you know the mic.
Yeah, 1 second. Yeah. Just let me check what is showing. I want to know what's showing.
Your desktop. Exactly this. Yeah. The impact of, yeah.
So will you record on that side?
Yeah, it's recording on my laptop.
So I'm going to
I think
spend.
you're recording in the cloud as well. Well, it's better to
I'm literally going to spend 2 minutes.
ours.
Only 2 minutes, because of the new faces, so that
Okay.
the screen. What screen is it showing? Just turn it to you so that you can.
It's good now.
It's good now. So that's. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Sincere apologies for the very late start, almost 45 minutes late. We thought the signal upstairs was going to work, and it did not work because people complained yesterday that the signal down here, so we had to come back down here because there was compatibility issues. Sorry about that. So inshallah, because of the few new faces that I've seen today, I'm going to run through literally for 120 seconds, what we did yesterday. So yesterday, that was a quick run through as to why this course is going on and what the relevance of it is for the purpose of why we're here. So the primary purpose is for us to develop a skill that can help us to cope in the era of automation and replacement of some job roles. I'm going to run through yesterday very quickly. So we did talk about the impact of artificial intelligence in different sectors. And then we talked about different sectors and how they were impacted. Just keep going, because I'm running quickly because we're already behind schedule. So yesterday's presentation was recorded as well, so I forgot to share the recording. So it's been recorded as well on Zoom. And the reason why we didn't share the link is that people would just say, oh, we can watch it online from home. So the primary thing is that we want people to develop that skill. So we don't want people saying they will join online while driving or cooking or sleeping or just joining for the sake of being in the meeting. We want you to actually develop the skill. So it's recorded for when you attend and you are struggling with something, you can make reference to it. So it's being recorded, but it's not for you to So let's go on. So we talked about the adoption and the different sectors. So the few FAQs. So if you have not registered, the information is already in the email as to what is it. So we'll really like your feedback from yesterday. We talked about different complementarity and then the different sectors and how it's been impacted upon. So the Sheikh went through yesterday the different components of Microsoft Power Platform. So we're going to start the practical today. And then what is it called? The impact on the different sectors of the economy. So it's just a run through for the few people who forward. I want to finish quickly. So as in just for the purpose of those people who were not here yesterday. So Jazakallah, thank you very much for your patience and sincere apologies for the late start. So if you have registered, you would have gotten the email last night on what is expected of you and what you should have downloaded. Please ensure that you have done that. If you haven't done that, you can start doing that now so that we can make progress. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Alhamdulillah. Wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah. Inshallah, we're just gonna pick up from where we stopped yesterday. And okay, I'm gonna be sharing my screen. Yeah, we're gonna be sharing. Let me know when you can see my screen. Yeah. Can we all confirm that we can see my screen, please?
Not yet. You can see mountains, maybe somewhere in Himalayas or something like that.
Like this?
No, what you can see is a trial version.
Yeah, this is what we expected to see.
Okay, it says apps.
Can we all see my screen? Yeah,
Yes, yes.
that's my screen. Yeah,
Okay,
that's what I
okay.
want you to
Okay,
see.
okay, okay, okay.
No, Jazakallah.
It's recording, I mean.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, we're going to be diving straight into the business of today, inshallah. So yesterday we talked about the Power Platform, and I mentioned that the Dataverse is the bedrock. It's kind of like the storage, the default storage that comes with the Power Platform, which is where contents and configurations and whatever you're building will be stored. And you can also use it as a database, right, for building your apps or your automation or whatever. So yeah, inshallah, we're just going to we're going to be talking about how we create tables and columns on the Dataverse tables. So the first part of the presentation, I think before I go back to the presentation, I think I shared the URL on how to sign up for a trial of a Street Staff tenant where everything will be taking place. So I shared the link on the WhatsApp channel. I don't know if anybody tried accessing the link, but yeah, I did. So just to reiterate before we go into it, so whenever you sign up for the trial tenant, what is expected to happen is you go to office.com and this is where it lands you in. So it lands you here. When it lands you here, then I think I talked about how we can see all the apps that is supported on the Power Platform and how you can utilize the Power Apps option to go to the Power Apps menu. So yeah, the question. I'm taking question.
It doesn't have yesterday.
Yeah.
Yeah, with my phone.
No, it's connected.
Yes.
On the channel, on the WhatsApp channel. I send the link for signing up to the tenant. So I think a lot of people have not joined the channel. Please endeavor to do that before. Yeah. Yeah, on the WhatsApp channel.
It's in the email. It's in the email. It's in the email. Yes. Yeah?
Yeah. If you click again, can you click again, please? The link again.
It's in the email.
It's in the email.
So we would take that inshallah after. So, but yeah, what I'm just gonna do today is I'm just gonna show us around how to do all these things, right? And we're going to be talking through it, inshallah. So I'm just setting an expectation of what to expect and where you're going to be doing all these things. So we're going to be talking about Dataverse, and for you to access Dataverse, you need to come to the Power Apps portal like I showed yesterday. So this is kind of like a revision of what I talked about yesterday. So if you come to the Power Apps portal, so if you go to the Power Apps portal, you should be able to access the tables. So yeah, but I'm going to be getting back into the demo after going through the explanation of how things are being done. So yeah, so how do you? So yeah, the learning objective of this path is we have to understand what data model is. Or data model includes things like data structure, data types, relationship between tables or entities. Yeah. So we have to understand the benefits of Microsoft Dataverse. We have to understand how to create tables, how to basically update tables information, how to add columns to a table, how to create a relationship between them. So what is data model? Data model is a process used to define and analyze data requirements that is needed to support a business process. I want to build an application. Sorry. I want to build an application for registering devices. Or say, for example, I want to build an application to track sales. So the first thing I need to do is, as a citizen developer, I need to understand all of the tables that I need to build that application. So most of the times when you take business requirements, if you have some sample business requirements from, say, for example, the company, say, for example, the finance team or the sales team, so they want to be able to track their sales information. They want to be able to build an app for that. So the first thing you want to go over is, sorry, Muhammad. Yeah. So the first thing you want to do is you want to go over the tables, like what you need, the tables you need to build the application. Can you sit here and I'm just gonna signal to you to help me change the slide just by using this, right? Just like okay. So all right, I'm gonna signal to you.
Let's go.
Yeah. One more thing. Yeah. So-
if it's here, yeah, just press on the link, then you just save it and
Okay.
keep the phone.
No, I think it's long. It's very long. Oh, it's very long.
The link for this program was sent to and not on the platform, WhatsApp platform.
Oh, okay. So yeah, when we're talking about data model, so we're talking about
They have to share, I think most of us is not selected. This one doesn't.
yeah. Okay.
You need to do 5 minutes to do some house styling. So if you don't mind, you may have to just sit down. I'll sort it out. Just sit
No,
down.
no, it's fine. It's fine. We can do it together. So I mean, yeah, we'll just like take a 2 minutes break to set up things. So I think yeah, the same way we need to set up. I think we might need if the sister needs some help setting up as well, please reach out. Yeah. Oh, you helped.
About 6 hours.
No, exactly. Thanks. Sir. And we can take questions in between as well.
I think if I,
Exactly.
what's your email address? Please spell it.
Which one?
This man has the, you may need to go upstairs. I think the baby signal down here. So if you can join him to go upstairs and,
Your phone is connected.
Yes.
do you have data on your phone? Then use your phone now.
It's not working.
Where's your phone? No. Where's your
Settings.
settings?
It's off.
Yes.
Yeah, it's off. Man.
No, I think you have to enable something. No.
Even this is the hospital.
Don't know why it's not. Yeah, I'll leave him with you. Yeah, I've seen it because I was like, I've seen the email before, so I've sent it to you now. So you should get it, okay? What's your?
As in, you're right.
Yeah. So you need to try
Someone search.
free account. Yeah, that's the trial version. So you set up one. So you put your name and all those things. Are you okay? Huh? Are you okay? Okay. Are you okay? You got the email now? Okay. Are you okay? Sorry? Your email.
Yeah,
What happened to it?
yeah, I forgot. I don't know which one I use.
Huh? Okay.
No. Let me go and sign up for platform.
Okay.
You don't take money at all.
So I navigate this link. I click on this now.
Okay, that's device.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Let me click again.
It's up now. So we should see them.
I mean, no,
Just up.
Yeah.
Just up.
Click me here.
exactly. So you need to sign up for the free version.
I didn't see anything like signing up there.
Can you make it brighter? You see my eyes?
But this is
Let's do that.
so this is for your practice, like at your own place. So I think I shared the link as well to this one. So this is the link to learn. I mean, to read about it.
The one we are doing today.
So I'm just going to be presenting
Okay.
everything. I'm going to
You want to come
summarize what
closer
you have
so I
here.
know?
So, but to learn in detail, you would. So
What's the
link
problem?
here. She link here.
You said I
Link to
Yeah, because I can't see.
trying to do.
Oh, just 1 second. 1 second.
Yeah, so this is the link. Free trial subscription. So it says go to Microsoft products,
Sorry?
select the plan. that
It's a
you
shortcut to that.
and
Yeah,
buy
the
from.
shortcut.
So select it. So if you want, say for example, a business plan with Teams with Copilot. So you just select anyone.
Or do I send you that link? I have to click here or something.
Great manage. Okay.
1 second. So it's going to just show like all the
You should sit down.
everything that you can access from us, or it shows everything that you can access within the plan. And
We have two
yeah,
links there
so you can just.
on that mail.
So I think when you try to like buy one,
Yeah.
it's going to start it by default.
Yeah.
For one Angular. So you put your email.
Yeah.
So yeah, it shows you all the services. So when you put your email, so it will take you to the what's it called? You put in all the details and you have to add a payment method. So you can cancel before the end of 1 month.
Check.
No.
Option of not giving him to sign. It doesn't mean that he has signed up before because it's not giving him.
No, this is the learning material.
Okay.
So this is for learning. So the one for signing up, right? Right. This is the one for signing up. So yeah, if you scroll down, if you scroll down. So try a free trial subscription. So you come here.
Okay.
So you select the plan you want, business standard, then you
Okay.
register. So if you scroll down a bit, so no 1 second. So you scroll down. So you can see all the plans with Teams, it's Copilot. So if you choose this one, for example, it's Copilot service. So it shows you the service. And if you click on buy now, it tells you to register. Yeah. So you can put in your details and register.
Yeah, what about the payment now?
So it's going to like, so by default, I think, yeah.
You get 30 days.
Yeah, you get the 30 days. So after 30 days, if you cancel or you extend the trial. So because, yeah, there is an
That's
information.
365, I think.
Yeah.
My process.
So you can also extend your trial.
Let me leave it. What's the
So
process?
if just follow if you read the link here, it tells you how to.
Okay.
If I'm able to do this now.
Did you get the email?
Yeah.
What do I stand to
Yeah.
achieve?
So
So you're
the email.
able to access everything that you
Oh,
can.
mashallah, yeah. This man, mashallah, is sorted.
Mashallah.
Huh?
I start trying.
Yeah.
Okay, mashallah.
He's working now.
I mean, so the thing is also
So
by the trial.
Link.
So you could help other people. You can add them to your trial environment. You know that. So if you can add maybe like
No, she email
that
him
can
and
be
the
accepted.
Gmail.
So for anybody that has trial accounts, we can help ourselves by adding other people on the trial account. On the
Just
trial
open your email. The link is there. Okay.
So the idea is not to have it. So I mean, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. The idea is not to follow line by line as we go, because yeah, we would definitely need more time and people will get stuck and we don't have enough time to do line by line. I mean, to go like kind of like hands-on. So I'm just going to be talking through it and I'll be providing the contents that we can follow. So, and if anybody is stuck, we can always use the group chats and inshallah we can look at it. So otherwise, we're just going to like keep.
Are we going to have a number for the
Yeah, we would after the what's it called session, inshallah, we would share this information. So
It's
I think
on the email.
we can we continue now?
You can.
Okay, sir. No. So like I said, if we have accounts and we have spaces on our tenants, now we can help our brothers. I mean, we can share the what's it called? We can add them as users on our tenants. So for people that don't have access, so we can always like work our way around it like that. Just have to work. So yeah, back to the business. So yeah, like I was saying, when we're talking about Power Platform, so one of the integral part of Power Platform is Dataverse. So this is where all of the data is stored. This is where the data lies. Think of it as a database where you store all of the what's it called, the business information, the records. So I made an instance that if you're to build an application that tracks your sales information or your sales records in your organization. So the first thing you want to do for an app, whenever you want to build any solution, is to talk about the data structure, the data model. The first thing is you have to go for the data model. What kind of information am I storing about the sales? I'm storing the sales information. Then what is the information? You talk about, now you have to like dig deep. So what kind of product am I selling? What do we have? We have to have the inventory information. So which is the information in the internal side? Inventory. So we have 5 products in our company that we sell. So you have a table for the inventory. So what kind of information does the inventory need to have? You talk about the product's ID, talked about the product name, pen, for example, book, for example, that's the product's name. Then you want to have like unique identifier for the product. How many pen do you have in your inventory? You have a column for that as well. I'm just trying to break it down. So that's for the inventory. Now you want to track how many items from the inventory are being sold. Then you want to have a sales table, right? Please feel free to stop me if you don't understand. If you want me to like reiterate or something, please feel free to do that. Second thing, I'm just coming up with an instance, like out of the blues, yeah? So second thing you want to have as a table or as a data storage is sales table. So how many items from the inventory? So the table is going to track how many items from the inventory you're selling. So you want to have information on that table. You want to have columns like, product information, the product that you're selling, which is linking back to what's the inventory. You want to have like customer information. Who is the person that bought that product? Maybe you don't have to. Maybe you have to. It depends on the use case. You want to have how many of that product was purchased, for that request. Okay, 5 of those same products. Imagine everybody uses Tesco. You go to like Asda, you go to all of these supermarkets. How do they know what they sell every day? How do they know what product is the most bought? I mean, people buy some products the most, and they would know that, we have to restock all of these things. So without proper data, model? Without proper data, integrity, they won't have all these records. Any statistics you see online today is due to the fact that they have a proper data model or a data structure. So yeah, data model is very essential for any app or any solution you want to build. So now in the data model part, we talk about the types of data. So we talk about the database, this data structure, how you want to structure your data, right? So things like building the tables you would need. So this is what the data model is going to emphasize on. The tables you need, the columns, and how, all of these things that you need for your app. So think of, somebody should think about a use case of an app. Then I'm going to talk briefly about the model.
It's nothing to do with von Neumann architecture or something like that.
What do you say?
Von Neumann architecture, like this.
There are different architecture for data models. So, but I mean, starting from the basics, we don't need to talk about the architectures right now because so there are standards, there are industry standards, for different data models, right? So, for example, if you start storing information that has to do with financial information, like banking information or all of these things, you have to use some procedures and some, methodologies to do your stuff. For example, if you want to cash out from the ATM, you want to use the cash machine, right? And you put your card and there's an issue. So there's something called reverse and all those things. So how do you want to ensure that you have, without going deep, we have just to, on the basic level, we need something called a data model, right? So the data model includes all of the tables that you would need to track your app, that you would need for your application to work. I gave an example, say for example, Tesco. Tesco, for you to track your sales, you need the inventory tables that has references to all of the products you have in store. You need the sales table. So the sales, information, if somebody buys something, it tracks all of those items that are being bought by the person. So which means you have information to the inventory that is linked. You have information to that person who bought the stuff, the item. If you're allowed as an institution to store credit card information or debit card information, you want to have something like that to track all of those things as well. Also, what are the things that you can track? You can track some extra services. For example, on the Tesco cash self-checkout machines, you see something like, do you want to donate? So if you want to keep track of, the donation as well, you need a table for that. So, that's just on an eye level. So if you dig deep, we can chunk some table into smaller parts. So, but I'm just trying to pass across the message that when you want to build any solution, the most integral part of the solution is the data model. So then you have the definitions. So specifically now, let's come to the data bus level. Just quit that, please. So specifically, okay, exactly. So specifically on the data bus level, we talk about things like table, columns, relationship, and some metadata. The reason why, like I said, the Power Platform was introduced is to what? To reduce complexities. If you're going to use data stuff like SQL, you have to talk about what? You have to talk about things like the definition as well, the tables that you need. You have to talk about the columns as well. You have to talk about relationship there as well. Then on top of that, you have to talk about the query language itself. You know, how to actually query information from that. Then you talk about several other things. So, but Dataverse is also built on SQL, but on an eye level, it simplifies a lot of those things that you need to do manually. So yeah, so the definition, so you need 4 basic things. Let's just keep this at the back of our mind. You need the tables, you need the columns, or you call it fields, whatever you want to call it. You need the relationships. So what does the relationship means? Everybody knows what table is now. Everybody knows what column is now. Relationship is the communication, or let me say, how one table connects the other. You have a sales table, you have a customer table, for example. So a customer bought a product. You see? So what is the relationship between a customer table and a sales table? Sales should have information about the customer. So which means you don't need to like every time, okay, a customer have, say for example, 5 attributes: the name of the customer, the email address of the customer, the address. You don't want to like copy over 5 items every time for one customer on every sales item. One customer has 5 sales records on the table, right? You don't want to copy the same first name, last name, email address, and all those data on each record of the sales. What you just want to do is, you just store the reference to that customer information. Okay, the customer is on the, what's it called, line 5 on my customer table. So whenever the customer buys any item, just store the reference to line 5. Okay, so that's the idea of relationship. The idea of relationship is what? Is to construct association between what? Between 2 tables. Please let me know if I'm sounding too technical. So yeah. So understanding relationships, because yeah, relationship is kind of like the most kind of like difficult one to wrap your head around. So yeah. So to make an efficient and scalable solution for most of the solutions that you build, you will need to split up data into different parts. I think I talked more about all of these things, already. So say, for example, you have customers. You have a customer table, you have products table, you have sales order, and you have line items. Just for context, what does this mean? Customer tables, these are people that are buying the products. So products, think of it as an inventory. I sell, example of something I sell.
Software.
So foods, software. Let's say foods. Yeah, everybody buys food. Everybody buys foods if you don't buy software. So I sell 5 different types of food. I sell rice. I sell beans. Okay, let's just keep it at those two. So I have 2 products, yeah? I sell 2 products, rice and beans. So the product table is meant to hold information about all of those things I have in stock, right? I have 100 bags of rice in stock. I have 100 bags of beans in stock. So all of those things that you can think about, okay, what type of rice is it? What quality is it? The total number of the bags I have in store. All of those things that you can think about it. The product table is going to hold it. Now you have sales orders. Somebody is coming to buy, right? So this is where the sales orders now. Like this is the table you store those information, sales orders. And line items. What does line item mean? It means one person coming to my store does not necessarily mean they're just coming to buy one thing. They could buy rice only. They could buy rice and beans. So this line item is going to keep track of, the total, each item that has been bought, right? Somebody came into my store and bought 5 bags of rice, 5 bags of beans. So on the line items, what do you have? You have 5 bags of rice, 5 bags of beans. Linked to who? So you have one sales order that is keeping track of those 2 items. Because this is a transaction that is being made, at a time. He came into my store now. Order for what? 5 bags of rice and 5 bags of beans. So you need to track those on the line items, like each item that is being bought. And you have one sales because he came today. What if he comes tomorrow? Then that's another sales order. So yeah. I'm okay. What part don't you understand?
No, I don't get, where you were saying, like the amount of items say is multiple, that you have bags of rice and beans. Yeah.
So you go to Tesco. I'm just going to use something that you do every time. You go to Tesco today, you walk into Tesco, you pick up a bottle of water, and you pick up a bag of chips, right? You walk into the self-checkout. The moment you scan the first item, it creates a sales order. The moment and apart from creating a sales order, it creates a line item. What is a line item? The bottle of water that you bought. The second line item is the bag of chips you bought. So you have 2 line items for 1 sales order, right? So those 2 line items are connected to this 1 sales order. Tomorrow you come in again, you buy 5 things. You have another 1 sales order, and all of the 5 items that you bought is what is stored into the line items. So now we're just talking like on a what's it called, on a parallel term now. So now how does this information connect each other? So that is where relationship comes in. You pick up 5 items. So you have all of those 5 items. So now there needs to be what's a reference to the sales order. So which is the sales that happened what? Yesterday, or the one that happened today, or the one that would happen tomorrow. So now relationship is what keep those 5 items linked to the sales orders. And apart from linking those sales orders to the line items, you want to have information about your customers. If you pick up your phone now and you order something on Amazon, you have to create an account most times, right? When you create an account, those information of yours is being stored on the customer table. Think about that. The product you have on Amazon that is showing up for you is on the product table. The sales order, when you add all of those items to your cart, the moment you click on checkout, it creates 1 sales order, and all of those items you added to your cart is what? Line items. So now they are linked by what? By the relationship. I hope that is clear. Exactly. So
Switch it on.
oh, I think it's my laptop.
It's working. I tried it before.
Next. Okay. So now, if you look at this overview now, right? This is a good way to represent. It's kind of like a visual way of seeing how things are linked. So real world concepts. This is a real world concept that we're trying to paint the other time. You have to understand the relationship. Kind of like there are terms that are being used for relationships. You have. Don't let me sound technical now. You have 1 customer, right? 1 customer can buy multiple items, can have many sales orders based on the scenario I painted the last slides, yeah? Because you walk in, do you know how many times you've walked into Tesco this year alone? Maybe 100 times. So each time you go and buy something, you have a sales order. So which means 1 customer can what? Have multiple sales order, right? Does that make sense? 1 customer can have what? Multiple sales order. For each sales order that you have, for every time you walk into Tesco to buy something, you're having what? You have 5 types. Maybe every time you walk into Tesco, you're buying at least 3 items. So which means multiple sales orders are linked to what? Multiple line items. The sales order line is still the same as line items, right? And now, where is the line item speaking the information from? It's speaking the information from the products, or you call it the inventory. Why? Tesco has how many products? Thousands of products in their store. Every time I come in, I check out a bag of chips and a bottle of water. Tesco does not necessarily have to now say, oh, it's buying bag of chips, bottle of water. They already have those information in their inventory. Because this is how they get to know that some items are out of stock. You understand? So for that line items, it just goes into the inventory. What happens to the inventory? It picks those information from the inventory and just linked it. It links the reference to those information on the inventory on the line items. A bag of chips. I have 1,000 bags of chips in store. So the moment you scan, what does it do? It uses that unique code to check the inventory, the product table. And that same unique ID is what is being stored on the other line items. So that is storing the reference. It is not storing all of those information. Say, for example, each product has 1,000 attributes. You don't want to copy over each attribute to your line items. So what you want to store is what is the reference. So like I said again, 1 customer comes in, checks out, scan the bottle of water, you're creating one sales order. And one sales order is what can be linked to multiple items. So if you look at this, what I'm saying now, you have one customer, they can walk in multiple times. This is one customer, many sales orders. Because when you go into Tesco, it can be maybe five times today only. So each time you're working in Tesco, you're creating a sales order, right? One customer to what? Many sales orders. So that's the concept. You have one-to-many relationship. One-to-many relationship. One customer walks in, you create multiple sales order. It doesn't have to be one time. One sales order is also connected to multiple line items, right? And line items, each line items store the reference to the product. So one product to many line items, because you can buy the same product 100 times. You can buy bottle of water today, bottle of water tomorrow. So now we get this relationship type, one-to-many. We know what one-to-many is, right? So if you look at the structure of the diagram, this indicates that it is one, and this kind of stuff indicates many relationship. Like if you have 3 pointers. So the same thing, one sales order to many sales order item, and one product to many sales order line items. So now we're done talking about the tables, right? We're done talking about the tables. We know what table includes now. We know what Dataverse includes now. Dataverse includes table information, the relationship between those tables, the columns, and the metadata. So metadata is just information about the table or what you're tracking and all those things. Now we have something called solutions. I want to build an app. This is a use case now. In my company, I said we have 10 teams, 10 different business functions. We have the HR. Let me just stop at 2. We have HR, we have the IT team. So yesterday, we made mention of something called an environment, yeah? So you can have an environment for the HR, you can have an environment for the IT. Human resources, yeah. Now, on top of that solution, on top of that environment, you want to build all of the solutions that have to do with IT, on the IT environment. Now, the concept of solutioning is you want to have. IT might need maybe 5 different applications or 5 different solutions to do whatever they want to do, right? They might need an application or a solution. I call it solution because solution actually is more detailed than application. What I mean by that is, for a solution, you need an app, for example. You need an automation. You need tables to store all of this information, right? It shows that app is not just an app, it's a solution. I don't know if you get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Solution is more encompassing, yeah, it's more broader than what apps. App is just one part of solution. So now there's concept of solutioning in the Power Platform. So when you have the solution, a solution is meant to be a container of a Power Platform component. For example, the IT team reached out to me, they want to build a solution that helps them track all of the devices that they give out to the employees. When you work anywhere, they give you an official laptop if your activities or your task has to do with that. So they want to keep track of how many laptops have we given out, all of those things. What do you do for that? You create a solution for that. And you want to add the tables that you need into that solution. You want to build an app within that solution, right? You need an automation that sends a reminder to the IT person if somebody takes a new laptop, or you need an approval or something like that. So all of those things are meant to be. So think of solution like a folder, right? So tomorrow there's another request in the IT team as well. They want me to build a solution for them to give people access to VPN. I don't know if I'm making sense or I'm sounding too technical. Or they want to basically build another solution to do something else. So what do? You create another solution for that. So because if you don't have the concept of solution, everything is just going to lie around. and it's not going to be organized. So the idea of solutioning is what? Is to have a structure component or a structure folder that contains all of those things that you need to build a certain what? A certain app or a certain solution, basically. Right? So because you could have 5 things or more than 1,000 solution. So the idea of solution is it is there to what? To create a structure that wraps around all of those things that you need to build what? A functioning solution, a functioning tool that the business function needs. Also, apart from the fact that it is doing that, there's another thing it does. I mentioned something yesterday about the software development lifecycle, that there are standards in the industry, there are industry standards on how to build solutions. I said everybody that is using any app today, you either via the browser or you install the app on your computer, on your phone or your computer. You're accessing the app through something called a production environment. This is an environment where people actually this is the environment where the application or whatever you're using is being rolled out on. So what do I mean by that? Whatever application you're using, somebody built it, right? When they built it, so it has to be developed on something called a development environment. So when you be putting those tables that you need to build all of those things that you need, you have to do it, you're doing it on the development environment. When you're building the app, you're building it on the development environment, right? When you think you're done, you think you've ticked all the boxes.
Can we say the production environment now, it's like that of our Play Store?
Yeah, Play Store is a production environment where you go to like download your apps. Yeah. So yeah, I think that's a good example. So I hope everybody knows Play Store. If you don't know Play Store, maybe you know App Store. So they're just basically the same. So you go there to download application. Those kind of application you're downloading from there are those applications that are already on the production environment, right? So, but now I'm starting from how the app got to the Play Store in the first place. Somebody has to build the app. So they have to build the app on what? On the development environment. I mean, I can show us what something like that looks like. Like I said, Power Platform has come to eradicate a lot of components. So if you look at my laptop now, right, I have all this clustered, everything clustered like that. We have all of these things and, you have all of these components. So this is just one thing that I'm building. Like, you can see everything, right? So I can choose to start my server, right? I can start my server and I'll be able to access it. So this is a development environment where I write the code, where you don't have any business with the development environment, in short, in summary. So this is what a typical development environment looks like. Now, back to what I was saying. So if you look at this now. No worries.
Very production environment. And you said we don't have anything to do with that. How then we build
No, I said we don't have anything to do with development environment. I'm talking about.
I don't agree. The App Store is a development environment. I don't agree with that.
I said it's a production environment.
production?
So no, I said we as end users do not have anything to do with the development.
Users.
Yeah.
Not we that want
No.
because I'm putting myself as a person that wants to build.
As an end user, you don't have any business with development environments because nobody sees the code behind WhatsApp, for example. So, but as a developer, so that's why we're talking about it, because now we are not thinking about and we are not approaching it as an end users anymore. So that's why I'm explaining the concept of development environments. This is where everything is being put together. This is where designing and building everything. So once you think everything is done, you've ticked all the boxes, you've dotted the I's and crossed the T's. Then, as a developer, you're a batch tester. What does that mean? You don't see beyond what you've built most of the times. So you have a list of requirements, you think you've implemented it. Then they have to be a tester. So this is a role, they call them software testers or QA analyst or whatever. They have different job titles. So QA analyst is basically quality assurance. You want to ensure the quality of the app you've built or the solution you've built. So what you do is QA, quality assurance engineer. So what you want to do is so now, as part of the function of the solution, after you built everything within the solution, So it's kind of like a folder that you can just move out of your environment to another environment, right? So I talked about having like a dev environment, development environment, a testing environment, and a production environment. So dev environment is where you do all the builds. Then the test environment is where the quality assurance person or the software tester goes into, access the solution and try to like test everything you built. Okay. Now, solution also makes it easy for you to copy over all of those components that you used to build your solution into the other environment, which is the test environment. So that is why you have the solution as well. So for you to be able to easily take all of the components you needed to build your apps or your solution basically to another environment for test. Also, it is part of, like I said, the best way of like going over like the software development lifecycle. Here it is called application lifecycle management. So it's just kind of like a standard, an industry standard of how you build things. So yeah, you can see that you have the development environment, you have the test environment, and you have the production. So when you have everything within the solution, it's easy for you to just copy over the solution into those environments, and you're able to build easily. Now, how do you create a solution? Inshallah, I'm going to demo that. So you just need to go to the solution menu on the Power Apps portal. We have something called the Power Apps portal. I think I showed that yesterday, where you have all of those things. So you go into the solution, on the sidebar, you have something called solution. You click onto it, and it shows you all of this. So you have to choose like a display name. So it's kind of like display name is the human readable name. You want to build device tracker solution. So the display name in this case will be device tracker. You have something called name, which is kind of like a unique name that is being used by the system. Because if you have a solution, the system needs to uniquely identify that solution from another solution. If you have another device tracker request, for example, which is different, so it chooses another name basically. It's just for the system. This is kind of like the system schema name basically that the system uses to note. So publisher device, the prefix for new components. So when you have a publisher, think of a publisher like maybe there's a business function like the IT. So publisher is like you want to create a different publisher for IT. So everything that has to do with think of a publisher like if you have the IT team, for example, you have the IT department in your company, you have sub-departments, right? Under the IT, you have the, support. Under the IT, you have automations. Under IT, you have many sub-departments. So publisher could be, maybe you want to be specific that, okay, this solution is what is meant for the support team, or it is meant for say for example, within the IT. So there's support and there is automations. Those are the two examples. So you can say publisher is automations now. So if you have sub-team like that within the function, because like that environment is meant for IT only. The environment where you are creating the solution is meant for only IT. So it's not cross-department, right? So now that's the idea of the publisher for you to, when you see this component, so each component that you're now going to be creating within the solution would have will have the publisher reference. Inshallah, I'm going to explain that. And there's version number to track updates. When you build the app in the first instance, you're on version 1. When you make some changes, the version increases automatically. So this is how, your apps, all of the apps you have knows that, there's an update. When you open an app sometimes on your app on your phone, it tells you that there's a new update to go to Play Store to install that or App Store. So that is what the version number does. It helps you track for updates. So the same thing when you have a solution has has versioning. So the versioning is meant to help track updates. So yeah, this is what the interface looks like. So on this part, like when I showed it yesterday, you have the environment on the top. So you see the environment where you're in. So when you see the environment when you're in, you create a solution. This is what a solution looks like, a typical solution. So you have apps, chatbots, Cloudflow tables, and everything. So when you're creating a new solution, this is what it looks like. Now, if you've already built the app on your environment, maybe you don't know, like you need to have a solution, or you forgot that, let me just focus on creating the tables and the apps. You built it already. So you can use this functionality, add existing. So you see everything that is within the environment. Because I told you yesterday that environment is the wrapper that has everything within it. So all of the apps that you've built in your environment, if you click on add existing, if you're on the apps, you're going to see the all existing apps and you can bring them in. Or if you want to create a new one, it's fine. Just click on it. So that's the idea of, inshallah, I'm still going to be demoing this. So yeah, I'm going to demo that after, inshallah. So I talked about Dataverse. Dataverse is more than a database. It's more than a database. If you look at this slide, Dataverse has all of these components. You have something called security. What does security implies? It implies access control, right? You built an application, right? So the application is meant for all of the employees within the organization, right? But as an admin, I'm supposed to see something. Say, for example, I gave an example of like IT team. In your IT team, you build an application to track all of the devices that is assigned to each employee, right? I am an employee of the company. He is an employee of the company. When we open the app, we just want to see the device that is assigned to us. I will see the device that are assigned to me. Or let me use a support request scenario. You have issues on your laptop. You create a support request. You create a ticket, whatever you want to call it. So the app, you build an app that helps you create a ticket to report issues. You put the issues, the description, and everything. So what happens when you create the app? So the app logs the ticket for you. As somebody that's attends to all of the requests, what should the person see? Should the person only see the request that is created by me? No. So this is where we need access control. So Dataverse offers the flexibility of creating that. So when you're building the table, you're considering the support, the access. So now we talk about authentication. Who has access to these things? You talk about authorization. What level of access do you need? Authentication and authorization. Does anybody know the difference between? Yeah, please. I just want to be interactive, sorry.
Authorization simply means you having the code to that very information.
Okay, authentication.
Is to verification, having the right to alter that information.
Authentication is like password.
Okay, good. Authentication is like password, sir.
Authentication is like confirming that it was you that actually.
Yeah. Yeah. So I asked this question on purpose. Yeah. So authentication is what? Is a confirmation that you're an existing user or you have a subscription to that service or to that app. Now, authentication can be via password, can be via secret key, can be via different things, different means. That's authentication, just to confirm that I want to log into Facebook, and I have to confirm that I'm a registered user. So that is why you have the email and the password. You put the email, and what happens behind the scene when you click on sign in? It checks, okay, does that email exist? Yes. Does the password match? Yes. If either of the two is wrong, it takes you back, right? So authentication basically grants you access to that platform as an existing user. But authorization determines what level of access you have. That's just the difference. Authentication is you have access to the service. Authorization is what can you do within that service, even though you have access to it. Now, the example I give now is support tickets. As a user, you log in the support ticket. My system is not turning on, or I can't share my screen. I'm having issues with my laptop. I create a ticket. When I log the ticket in, where is the information going? Yeah, it's going to the IT team, but where is it stored? On the database, right? On the tables, yeah. Yeah, I just want us to be interactive, just like my hand. So now, authorization is now what defines what I can see. Is what distinguishes what I can see and what the IT admin can see. When I log a ticket, I can see the ticket I logged. I can see the status. Okay, I logged the ticket yesterday. I logged another one today, tomorrow, like that. So you can see all of the ticket that you logged. He should see the ticket that he logged. But he's an admin. He's the IT admin. So what should he see? He should see all of the ticket that is being logged by him, and I, whatever you do. So he should see all of this information. So that is where the authorization comes in. And also authorization and role-based security. Role-based security is just how you define those accesses on Dataverse. And you have something called auditing. Oh, there's an application that is being used by all of the teams now. So you can see, maybe we are all working in a business function. We have 5 projects. There's an application that keeps track of all the projects. So now he came in and put in some information on the projects. So what the audit does is a way to kind of log whatever that is being done on all of the tables. So if you make an update on project 1, so you can turn on these features, you can decide not to turn it off. You can, all of these features are what's optional. So if E comes into the project 1 and updates something, maybe updates the cost information. If you turn on the audit log, what is he going to do? It's going to say, okay, this person, because like you have to be signed in, right? He knows who you are. So it takes the information that this person makes an update to this table, to this record specifically. So that is what audit does. So you can turn on the feature or you can decide to turn it off, depending on, your need. So, but, when you turn it off, you're using more You're using more data storage. Yeah. And there is kind of like a policy behind that you can retain it for a particular period of time. So yeah. So Dataverse offers the security bits. What does the security bits mean? We all know what that means now. You define access control, what the person has access to, you keep track of what is being done on all of those records that is being stored on each table. Dataverse also offers the flexibility of logic, and not all data storage offers this flexibility. Okay, now, mashallah, you have an application. When I say application, I mean solution. We have a solution. And solution entails what? Different things, right? So now, because we're specific on Dataverse, let's focus our mind on the data part of the solution. So which is the tables, right? So when we're talking about defining securities, we are talking about defining the security on the table level, right? When we're talking about now the logic, it's still on the table level. So what does the logic mean? You have tables within your Dataverse that keeps track of what's project information back to the project name. And what you want to do is, for that project, you have costs table that links to the project. And E comes in, puts, the cost for the part of E is probably like the business analyst of that project. E is the project manager of the project. E is the sponsor of the project. So you have different roles, basically. He puts in the cost as a business analyst. So this is what it costs me as a business analyst to do these things. So you put it on that project. He put his own, he put his own. The logic of the calculated and roll-up fields is what? When I come to the application part of the project, I want to see the estimate, right, of all of the costs that people have put in. So the calculated and roll-up fields is when you're creating a column for cost, you can make it a roll-up field, which is a roll-up field is basically a field that's what calculates or summarizes or sums up all of those information. That is what's put into different part of the project. So Dataverse offers the flexibility of doing that as well. On top of that, you have system jobs. What does system jobs mean? System jobs is something that runs. It's kind of like an automation. Maybe after at 12 a.m. in the midnight, you want to have something that goes through all of the daily records and delete some things and do all of this. So this is, I'm just going to keep it summarized because, yeah. So that's what system jobs does for you. Plugins. What does plugin do? Plugin is, Dataverse has limit as well. Every solution or every application has its own limits. But plugin is the programmatic part where you can actually write codes to do something that is not available on the Dataverse. So Dataverse supports you extending it beyond its functionalities. I don't know if we get that word. So you can actually write codes. We don't need to deep dive in. This is kind of like the intermediate part or the advanced part. But yeah, just for us to have an overview of what it means. So plugin is what? Is a way you can actually write code to extend what Dataverse can do. So it shows how much Dataverse can do, basically. So you have something like business rules. What is business rules? Every application or every solution you build has, you want to go from the business requirements to what to build. So you go from taking the business requirements. For example, there can be a business rule. If you have, say, for example, you have an application that keep track of logging a support ticket, for example. Maybe I don't want people to be able to log more than 3 tickets at once. So what does that do? It checks for a status of all of the tickets that, if more than 3 tickets are open, I have open status. I don't want them to be able to log. That's a business rule. So you can implement that same what rule into the Dataverse. So on the Dataverse table,
We call it procedure.
so yeah, it's so because the business rule can be pre or post.
Okay.
So pre means before you actually create the record, and post means after you create the record. So what does that mean? In essence, either you allow the person log the ticket or you don't allow the person. So what I mean by that is you can do the validation before, maybe at the point of creating the ticket, you want to check if 3 tickets are open, then tell the person, no, you can't create the record. Or you allow the person to what? To create the ticket and put it on a stale state. You have another status to track that and they can work on that and something like that. So I'm just coming up with something out of the blues. So it's not like I have, so business rules is just like you have set of what conditions that aligns with your own what business needs. So you can basically implement that on the tables, on the table level as well. So when somebody approves something, you want to change the status. Think of anything. So duplicate detection. So this is like the administrative part of like what's it called? Dataverse. So there are some like managed components that notifies you of what. So you can easily like go to the Dataverse admin center and see what duplicate data and all these things. So there's kind of like a smart detection solution that is embedded within Dataverse. You don't actually have to build all of those parts. This detection one, it is something that comes with Dataverse. You just use these features. So also the workflows. The workflows is, when we talk about workflows, it's still kind of like an automation. But workflows has been replaced with the Power Automate. So the workflow is you want to create like a job that happens. So for example, it's similar to the jobs. But the difference between jobs and the workflow is for jobs, you have it tied to a table. Like you have, say for example, you have one job. One job can only do one thing, basically, maybe to delete information or to update information. But workflow is what set of instruction. So you can have maybe updates and you can have delete and all of these things. So workflow is just like, I think, yeah, you just understand that workflow is set of actions that you want the Dataverse to be able to do by itself. Maybe by defining a schedule or something like that. So on top of the logic, all of these are logics because you get to define most of these things and it happens behind the scene or it happens on the scene. So now when we talk about the data part of the Dataverse as well, you have the modeling tool, you have the catalog and discovery service, you have the reporting hub of Dataverse, you have the data validation. You can put in some validation on when creating a table column, you can put in some validation mechanism. You have the common data model, you have multi-language, multi-currency support as well. So this is kind of like, these are the features that gives you fine and complete data data structure. For example, if you look at the multi-language, wherever you create your environment will be like the default. For example, the environments, when I talked about environment already. So when you're creating an environment, you can create an environment in the US region or in the UK region. So the environment you create in the UK region would what? By default, when you're creating a column, what happens? It defaults to the pounds. When you create an environment in the US, in the United States region, it's default to what? To USD. So something like that. It also uses the time zone like that. So, but you can manually now change all of those things. So yeah, storage, everybody, not everybody. When we're storing anything on, say for example, people who use SQL before now, or like any data storage, all of these things behind the scene are being stored into files. Has anybody heard of DBMS before? Database Management Studio System. What the application does is, it gives you the structured interface to do all of these things. But behind the scene, everything is being stored to what? To files. So the same thing is not far-fetched. Dataverse has some file storage and everything that, the application part of the Dataverse is what is translating all of those file formats or those file, which is meant to be the storage. So the application part is what is just giving you an human readable interface where you can actually create the tables and all those things. So now, apart from that, on top of that, you have files and blob storage. So you can actually store files. When we're storing tables, we're storing information regarding the table or columns and other things. You're putting it into like table structured format. So, but you also have the support to store files. The same way you store like information about customer, name, last name, and all these things. What if you have like invoices? So the person should also be able to upload what's invoice. So you have like, it supports the file storage as well. And you can also extend it to what? To use like external storage, like Azure Blob and stuff. Relational database, which is the one we've been talking about, the tables, structure, and all these things. So semi-structured data. So Dataverse also gives you the ability to store what? Semi-structured data. What is semi-structured data? Semi-structured data is what? It's kind of like data that is not properly structured. I mean, it's between, so you have mix of what? Structured information and non-structured information. Structured information is typically like a table. Unstructured information is, say, for example, you have like a JSON file. I don't want to sound too technical. Let's leave the part. But it offers a lot of storage capabilities as well. So you can store files. Integration now. Apart from offering all these things, it makes it easy for you to integrate to what? To webhooks. What is a webhook? Webhook is, think of you making a payment. I'm making a payment. Sorry, can somebody give me an instance of when they have to make a payment? Yeah, no, like not payments, like you're using a service where you have to pay for the service on the app. Maybe you want to buy something online. Say, for example, Amazon. You want to buy something on Amazon, right? Amazon, what is Amazon doing? Everybody knows Amazon to what? To sell products as an e-commerce platform. Don't let me use Amazon, let me use eBay. Everybody knows eBay, what? They sell something. But when you buy something, you have to pay. So PayPal is a payment platform. I just want to like link the integration part for us to understand with what we do normally. Amazon or eBay is what is an e-commerce provider to sell items, but they also have to take payments. So they can transition from selling to what? To now like banking or like taking payments. So because they are dedicated what? They are dedicated institution that offer those services of payments. So what would eBay do? eBay would say, okay, let me go to a payment provider. Say, for example, Stripe, PayPal, whatever. Let me partner with them. So they would help me take the payments and send it to my own account. So I don't have to deal with what? The payment part. So, okay. They went to PayPal. PayPal will tell eBay, oh, this is what you have to do for you to be able to use my service. You need to provide me something called an endpoint. So like something that I can send information to, basically. Just think about it. So when somebody comes, so what eBay would do, eBay would say, okay, I have all the services. I need you, PayPal, to handle my payments. Now, the points between eBay and PayPal is what is integration. So how you connect both services, right? Now, webhook part, I'm coming to the webhook part now. When you now make all of those things, you put into your cart and you click on checkout. It pops up what? An interface for you. Now you are no more on eBay. You're on what? You're on PayPal. You're on PayPal. So when you put in those card details and before it pops up, eBay shows you the total amount you have to pay. It sends that information to what? To PayPal. And PayPal pops up a box, a dialog for you to what? Put your card details. All of those card details are handled by PayPal, not eBay. So once you pop in those information, your credit card information, your debit card information, and you click on what pay, you receive the approval, you approve. Then webhook is what is that service that eBay offers for PayPal to send the information of the payment status. So this is how they connect. So Dataverse also offers this flexibility. So you can create webhooks with external services that notifies Dataverse that, oh, something has changed, or this person has done something. I'm just using that payment. It's not just payments. So you have like, you can have other things as well. So webhook is what? Is that listener, that service that constantly listens for what? Third-party information, right? Dataverse offers that as well. ALM, Application Lifecycle Management, that is also sitting on Dataverse. So ALM is just like, you have 3 environments. So ALM is, one of the functions of ALM is a tool that you use to kind of like move your solution from dev to test environment, from dev towards production environment as well. So now, Azure DevOps, it integrates with what? Azure DevOps as well. What is Azure DevOps? Azure DevOps is, I told you Microsoft has many services, right? So one of the services that Microsoft offers is also Azure. Yeah, inshallah, after this, we're going to take a break. I think here we have just a couple more things to go through. So Azure DevOps is what? A task management or a project management tool that you can use to manage your stuff. So Dataverse also offers integration between that. Analytics, this is an analytics service that Azure offers as well. You can easily connect your Dataverse to that. GitHub, this is an organization that manages most of the codes that is being written by software engineers today. So you have easy connection from Dataverse to that as well. Data exports. Dataverse gives you the flexibility to export your data in Excel, in CSV files or stuff like that. So basically, these are the things that Microsoft Dataverse offers you. You manage your data easily. It secures your data. You have access to Dynamics 365 data. Inshallah, I'm just going to talk. If somebody have heard about Dynamics 365, it's kind of like the eldest brother of Microsoft Power Platform. But I'm going to talk about that briefly. So rich metadata, you have different data types within Dataverse. It gives you the flexibility of implementing logic and validations. Also, you have access to productivity tools. You can easily pop your data from Dataverse to Excel, and maybe you're more comfortable with Excel, do all your data stuff in Excel and get it back to Dataverse. Dataverse. I've talked about most of these things. It's scalable. What does scalability means? It's fast and what's optimized. Yeah. So you have standard designs, things that are used to a structured format of defining your table. So also you can have all of these things. I think it's just repeated. I've covered most of these things. So like I said, 4 things you'll have to understand on Dataverse. The building blocks is what? You have tables, you have columns. Table, columns, relationships, and what? Choice column is wrong. I think it's called metadata, basically. So, but a choice column is a type of metadata, because when you have choices, you have statuses, for example, you have open, completed, different pending status, all of the status that you can think about. So one example of metadata is choice column. What else? So these are the table characteristics. When you're creating a table, you have the display name, all of this information. I'm going to show it when I'm demoing how to I'm just going to walk us through Dataverse and how we can create all of these things. So when you're creating a table, you need one default column, so which is called the primary column. So yeah, so this is the column that's what all of those other connecting tables look up to. So most times it's good to have it as a unique data or whatever. So yeah, this is the data that you can. This is primary column implies that this is the primary. It's kind of like the first. This is what gives other tables that it's connecting to this table. It gives them this is what you see when you're connecting to this table, basically. I'm just going to explain that when we get into that. So you have types of table. You have the standard table. You have activity tables. So activity tables is what's kind of like the audit tables that keeps track of everything that you do, all the changes you make. You have virtual tables. So virtual tables, for example, if you have an SQL database and you want to bring it on Dataverse, so this is what virtual table is used for. So you connect external data with virtual tables. And Elastic is when you have large volumes of data, you need an Elastic table for that. The idea of elasticity is expandable. So if you have a rigorously intensive data requirements, then you can use Elastic table for that. But not a lot of people use that anyways. So now record ownership on Dataverse, like I said, it gives you the granularity of authorization and authentication and role-based stuff. So
Let's take breaks.
Okay, yeah, inshallah. So yeah, basically, you just have, I think I've spoken about all of these things from the start of the slide. So you have the user or team owned information. If you create a new record, it's either owned by a user who created those information or is owned by the business function that you've defined that user in. So organization owned. If, for example, information should be accessible by everybody in the company or everybody in the department, you can define that as well. So you can define, accessibility level. So advanced table options, you have so these are the options that I said that if you want, you can turn on auditing. So if you look at this, for example, audit change to this data, if you tick this, so these are information that when you're creating a table, you can apply all of these things. So if you don't know what it means, you have the eye icon, you can always over onto it and it tells you what it does, right? Inshallah, I'm still going to be showing all of this, like I said.
Akin to all applications.
Yeah, this is a table. When you're creating a table on Dataverse, this is what you see. You have the options to define all the things that you need. So this is, Inshallah, maybe when I show it, inshallah, it's going to be more clear. So yeah, I think that should be. So this is how you add columns to a table. I'm going to show all of this anyway. So these are the data types that we have. We have text area, email, URL, ticker symbol, and all those things. So you have phone numbers, because all of these are basically text. But because of the granularity that Dataverse offers, it's specific that email data type. So because it automatically validates that, okay, the record that you're putting on it is an email, needs to have the @ symbol and .com or .something. So phone as well, it's structured format, whole number, you have duration, time zone, language, currency field, decimal numbers, floating points number, image, auto number. Multi-line text is still text, but because of the validation that comes with all of these column types, choice, yes and no. Then you have the date and time data type. So you can either have a date only or date and time. So basically, I'm still going to be showing all of these choices. If you have, like, I gave the example of status, you have open, pending, and all of this. So you can define the statuses and plug it into the column. I'll show all of this. Auto numbering. So there are times that you just need auto number. Say, for example, you want to open you create a new record for ticket. So you don't want the person to determine the ID of the ticket. So you can use an auto number field, like the SQL one as well. So apart from that, import data. So you can easily import your Excel data into Dataverse. You can import data from Excel or CSV or whatever. So you use something called the Power Query to transform your data to clean up before importing. So Dataverse offers that as well. So you have the table relationship. I talked about this. You have the one-to-many relationship and many-to-many. Relationship type, one-to-many, I told us, customer, many sales orders, right? Example of many-to-many relationship. Events, many events to what? Many. So say, for example, you have customers and events. So one customer can create many events. So many customers can create many events and stuff like that. So it's just kind of like how the relationship intersects. What else? Lookup column is how you link from one table to another table. How you link one column to another. Yeah, I think. So logic and validation, we talked about the business rules. So we have the business process flow. So you can use all of this for what? For handling logic and validation. So yeah. What else? Business rules. I'm going to be showing it, how to define some business rules and stuff like that. So you can define the component of the business rule. I'm going to be showing this as part of the demo. This is what you have, like when you're creating business rule, you have all of this option. You can either lock a field or show an error message or anything. So Dataverse security model, you have the teams. So these are kind of like the hierarchy you have in security levels. So you have the teams, business unit, security rules. So all of this basically defines, how the authorization is being managed. So if you have a business unit within the IT that is automation, for example, so you can easily say all of the people that belongs to this business unit should have access to this data. Security rules means, okay, as an IT, you should have as a user of the app, this is the access you should have. You should have access to all of these tables only. You shouldn't have access to all of this table and stuff. Or if you want to have access to this table, you should only see what you created, or what you created. But as an admin, you want to give them top level access. So column level security, maybe there's a column called status. So you only want the admin to see that column, so you can define that as well. Access teams. So for example, you want only people that belongs to a team to access something. So it's just like the hierarchy you have in defining the access. So you have all of this built in. When you create an environment, you have some standard roles that are created with the environment. So which is system administrator, they have access, unrestricted access to your environment. So system customizer, these people have they're able to customize to build some things within your environment. You have environment maker. So they have so all of this is kind of like top to bottom. So the more you go, the less the access they have. So app opener is just basically. So this is what the security role looks like. So you have the table name, and you can say, okay, this is the table name. This is the table name. So now you can give the permission. So either you give the create permission, or you can say, okay, you don't want to give any permission to create record here, or you want to give permission to specific user permission. And on the read, you want everybody. When you select organization, it means everybody within the organization can see the record that is being created. So but if you say user, it means only that person that creates the record will be able to use it. Then if you want to write basically updates and all of these things, you want to be able to reference information and all. So inshallah, I'm going to show you this in the demo. So this is the privileges you can have. So create, read, write. All of these things are still within the 4 that I said: create, read, update, and delete. Think of create as what? Create. Think of read as read, that you can consume, you can see all of those contents. Think of write as what? Update. And think of what? Delete as what? As delete. So, but all of these append, assign, and share. They are kind of like updates. So it's just like you want to share the table information, the record information with another user. So you're just basically updating that record access level. So these are the access level. So user means the person using it. So if you said the access level should be user, it means if you give read access, user read access, or you give read access to what user's level, it means if I create something, I'm the only one that will see it. Business unit means everybody in my business unit will see whatever anybody within that business unit creates. Parent-child business unit is if I create a sales order and I have multiple line items connecting that sales order, so automatically people that belong to my business unit would also see the line items or the related records, call it like that. Organization means everybody gets access to what? To those data. Auditing, I talked about this. You can basically log anything that you do. Enable auditing, you can enable or disable it. So it's just basically you using more data. So this is where you get to see the audit history. When you turn it off, when you turn it on, so you can see audit history. So you can see this is what it looks like. Oh, updates. This is the event that happened. Somebody updated something. They changed. This is the field that is being updated. This is the old value and this is the new value. So it is changed by whoever is logged in that did that activities. Yeah, that's it. Inshallah. So Jazakumullah khair. We're just gonna have a break and we'll come back. I mean, once for example.
Yo.
Welcome.
You were trying to finish. You don't have to finish, you know.
No, no, because
Today. Because it's better to go through it.
because it's not the only thing.
Okay. We have lost half an hour, so there's nothing we can do about that.
Okay, we can all see my screen. Jazakumullah khair. So yeah, as I said earlier, please let me know if you can see. I mean, on the Microsoft homepage, or you call it the Microsoft tenant homepage. So you can access all of the apps from here. So this is the landing page when you sign into the Microsoft Office 365. So you can always come into the app section and you see when you click on more apps, so you would see all of these apps. And the one we want to click on is the Power Apps. So when we get to the Power Apps, I mentioned something about environments. And this is what this is what the homepage looks like. If you want to see all of the environments that you have in your Office 365 tenants, so you click on this part, so you're going to see all of the environments. So if you've got access to the environments, you will see them here. But if you don't have access to the environments, you don't get to see them. So how do you get to create an environment? So you create an environment from the admin center. So where is the admin center? So if you do something like admin.powerplatform.com, or this is a short link to the admin center. So sorry, can you go upstairs? Can you all go upstairs? So the short link to the admin center is aka.ms/ppac. aka.ms/ppac. The PPAC is Power Platform Admin Center. That's what it stands for. aka.ms/ppac. So if you already have access to an Office 365 tenant with an administrator access, you should be able to visit this link. So it's just the same login details. aka.ms/ppac. So you're only going to be able to access it if you have access to the, what do you call it? If you have access to the Microsoft 365 account. So this is what you should see when you come to the manage part. So because we don't have much time, I'm just going to be moving fast. Because this is also recorded, so we can always revert back to it, inshallah. We'll share the link after.
I'll share something on the.
So this is
you can see
the interface. You're going to see the list of environments. When you click on manage, you see the list of environments. So if you want to create a new environment, all you just need to do is click on the new button. When you click on the new button, you have to choose a new name for the environment. So we can call it like a workshop environment. So I'm going to say workshop ENV. So I explained the concept of environment is what? Speak up, please.
Yes.
Yeah. So inshallah, we're going to record it. We are recording it as well, so we share after, if that works. So yeah. So if you want the environment to be a managed environment, what does a managed environment means? So it's an environment that gives, a managed environment gives you more flexibility or more assets to how you can control and gain insights. So which means it's going to install some pre-built components that Microsoft already offers on what's managed environments. So you have more softwares installed when you're creating the environment. So because when you create an environment, you have some softwares, or let me call it software that comes with it, or some configuration that comes with it. So if you want to have advanced access or advanced features, so if you click on Lemma, so you can read more about what a managed environment is. So this is just to kind of take us through it. So I mentioned something about region. So you can create. Microsoft currently support all of this region, United States, Europe, and all of this. So you can create your environment in different regions. So I told you that when you create an environment in US region, so things like when you're creating a table within that environment, your currency field will be defaulting to what? To the United States currency. Also, the time zone will be in the United States format, and all of those things. It's just about location, region, and region information. So it inherits the region information. So if I choose United States, so also if you want to get the new features that Microsoft is rolling out, because they constantly improve on this platform, so you can choose to turn it on. So if you want to get early features, if something is being launched and you want to be part of those people that first experience it or test it out, so you can choose it. So what type of environment is this environment? So I mentioned that we can have a developer environment. So if you look at this is a trial. You have option of creating a trial environment. So trial environment is what? It's just an environment that you want to use for learning purpose that is limited, maybe like it expires after 30 days. So if you create a trial environment, it expires after like, for example, 30 days, right? If you want a developer environment is, so a trial environment is a kind of developer environment, but it expires after a time. But a developer environment is also meant for learning. There's something called a development or sandbox environment. So the sandbox environment is what? Is meant to be what? Is meant to be the environment where you build everything, sandbox, or you call it development environment. And production is where when you build everything on sandbox, you move everything on production. And this is the production environment where the users get to access the solution that you built for them. So whenever you need to make any further changes to that solution, you're not making the changes on the production, you're making it on the what? On the sandbox environment. So basically you have all of these environment types. So the trial is just the same thing as the trial subscription-based. So but subscription-based is basically like something different. So if you have some subscription that is enabled on your Office tenant. So if you want to add a Dataverse data store, if you want people to be, sometimes you might need, maybe you want to build something that does not really require you to have Dataverse, to use Dataverse. So you can choose to turn it off. So, but if you turn it on, it means you have like a specific capacity of what you can use within that environment. And when it gets exhausted, what do you have to do? You have to either delete some information or what? You have to buy some license to give you more space for you to save your information. So if your environment needs Dataverse, so all of these are just flexibility for you to like create an environment. So if you click on next, it takes you to the part where you specify the currency. Yeah, so it also enables you to specify the currency. So but because my tenant is created in this region, that's why you can see this field. So but you can always specify the what's it called, the currency. So security group is, if you want to add people, if you want people within the organization to have access to these environments, you can create a group, add all of them to that group, and link the group. So all of these are the groups that are enabled on my Office 365 tenants. So if I want to add people, I don't want to add just one person. I want many people to have access to it. I create a group and link the group to the environment. Automatically they have access to it. So Dynamics 365 app is just like some set of default apps that comes with an environment. So you can choose to enable those those Dynamics 365 app. And you can also like choose to have some sample apps, so sample data or sample apps. So if I create this, it's just going to like get started, but the process is going to take, say for example, like it's going to take a while. So yeah, I'm just going to leverage on what I already have. And so if you look, these are the environment I have. You can see the information about that. So if I click on one environment, if I click on this environment, you're going to see like the information of the environment. You're going to see like everything that has to do with that environment. So the region where it's created, the state of the environment is ready, is a developer type. So basically it's created by who? So also I mentioned something about security roles, users. So this is where you get to create all of those information. If you want to add a user to this environment, by default, everybody do not just have access to the environment. So if you forgot to add the person to the group or something, or you want to add individual users, so you click on user and you add them to the environment. So basically this is, I'm going to be sharing, we have a link already that has been shared on how we can cover, some of these things. So this is just for us to see. So I can add a user. I can add a user, for example. Yeah, I mean, if I remember any user in my organization, I can add them and then I can decide to give them like a particular role. So this is a user. So I can give this user like a security role. These are the security role that comes with the environment by default, like I said. So you have support user, you have all of this. So, but the one that matters most for you is what? Customer system administrator. It gives them unrestricted access to the environment. Customizer gives them some, restriction around being able to do certain things. So, but they can build apps, they can build automation, but they might not be able to modify existing apps that is built by others. So you have the environment maker as well. You have all of these roles, but to be honest, like even I do not know what some of these roles does. So, but you can create a custom roles and, that you need for your own stuff. So basic user, they're just able to access the environment. They don't really have much to do. They're able to access the environment, maybe just to explore the environment, but they can't really create some object and stuff. So, and you have the environment maker. Those are like the 5 ones that I showed in the slide as well. So, I mean, just back to this, back to the part of the apps. So I talked about tables, about Dataverse tables. So what you just need to do is, if you need to create tables, you just need to come here. So already there are something called like standard tables or system tables. So there are standard tables that comes when you create an environment and you enable Dataverse, it comes with what? Some tables that you can easily use. So one of the tables is accounts. So these are kind of like tables that are being used by many businesses. So if I click on accounts table, you see this is what the table looks like. So you have like records, you have the columns, right? So sorry. So you have the table name and all those properties that I said. I think what I'm just gonna do is I'm just gonna try create a new table. So if I click on create new table, like I explained in the slide, so I can either start from blank or I can use AI. So if I use AI, so I can just describe what I want the table to be, or I can import a SharePoint list or an Excel file. So if you already have an Excel file, this is a good way to start. Just upload the file and it automatically creates the table for you. But for us, we're going to be starting from blank. So what's the table name? Let's say the table name is what? Sales, right? Sales order. So I told us that when we're creating a new table, we need a what? A primary column. So this is what the primary column looks like. So you can edit the column name. So we can say what? Order name. So what kind of data type? So when you're creating a column now, you need to specify the data type. What data type do we want the column to be? So either it's a text. So when we choose text, you have many options: plain text, text area, so email, phone number, and all this thing, plain text. So if you want it to be number, then you have all of these options as well. If you want it to be a date field, you want it to be what? A lookup field, which is what's looking up to another table. Inshallah, I'm going to be creating one more column to show the lookup stuff. And if you look at the choice, so you can also choose if you want it to be a choice table or if you want it to be a currency table, basically. So yeah, you can specify what the data type is, but the default is what single line of text. So if I just do this, oh, sorry, I did not click on save. So I'm just going to call it what's order name. Yeah. And I'm going to click on updates. So if you want it to be required as well, you can, choose formats. So if you want it to be, so the idea of the format is, it does. Okay, it adds the validation bit as well. Yes. Okay. So inshallah, we're going to pause a bit for the event.
When they start, you stop.
Okay. So yeah, I'm just going to update that. So we have the order name. I'm just going to create a table, save and exit. So I أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا Yeah, Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Yeah, we have few minutes to just wrap up. So yeah, this is what it looks like. This is what a table looks like. So I just created a table called sales order, and you can click here to see all of the columns. So you have already some system columns that when you create a new table, it creates all of these columns, some of these columns for you. So we can see the one that we created, which is the primary one, right? And these are the data types. So if you look at the created by column, yeah, I'm just going to be using this for us to see what the lookup looks like. So if I click on created by column, so if you create a new column and you chose the lookup data type, it's going to ask you to select the table you want to look up to. So the idea of the lookup is what, like I said, a reference. So if you look at what I'm doing now, I'm just clicking on the created by. The created by column is meant to track the person who created the record, right? So if you look at created by unique person who created the record and stuff, so it is optional. It doesn't have to be required. Then you specify the related table. And if you look at, you have advanced options. So you can enable security column. So if you want to enable the security that only one person or certain people should have access to this column, then if you tick this, then you should be able to kind of like define that. You can enable auditing on this column, or you can enable the auditing on the table level. So if you click on edit, for example, edit table properties, and click on the advanced option, all of those things that I mentioned, this is where you get to see them. So for the table, you can actually apply duplicate detection rules. Automatically, the system figures out what record is duplicate. You can, turn on the audit change. It tracks what's audit history. So it logs everything that has been done. You can enable all of those things, basically. Long-term retention, if you want to have like a long-term retention policy to store your data for a long time. So if you want to connect your database table to SharePoint document management, you can turn this on. So you can, basically enable all of those things on the row level. So this is the row level configuration. So you want to have like all of those things. So yeah, because we have to wrap up for the quiz, we have like 2 minutes more. So business rules, I mentioned that we can create business rules. So this is what the interface looks like. When you try to create a new business rules, okay, I'm just gonna skip that. Sorry. Yeah, because of time. So yeah, I wish I have one that, yeah. So because on the environment, we already have a lot of tables. So the user table was the one, this is the table that the created by column was looking up to the other time that I showed. And user table is also a system table that shows all of the users that are already active on the Office 365 tenants. You have all of this user, and you can link. So when I go back to the table that I just created, sales order, for example, if I click on sales order and I try to put in information, say for example, order 1, and I click out, so it's saved already. So if I can show the view, I can enable this field. So if you click on, I just made a change, okay. So you can, when I made this change, now it's saved, right? So if I click on created by, if I show this column, I click on created on. So you can see that it showed that this is the person who created the data. So it automatically links because it knows the person that is signed in, that is logged in. So automatically it takes that record and update that. And this is also like a auto-generated field that keeps track of when you created the data and stuff. So you have also forms. So forms is if you want people to fill in the forms to kind of like pull the data from that form into the table, you have the forms within the database. Inshallah, we'll be covering this part when we get to the Power Apps bit. So we'll be covering the forms, views, and charts, dashboard. So, but what we need to do is just like when we have, so example of the relationship is when you have a lookup, when you create a lookup field, it creates a relationship between the table and the reference table. So yeah, so this is the database. So if you look at, I mentioned you can export your data in Excel. So if you click on this bit, it takes you to this part where you can export your data as well. So we have the import bit where you can actually import your data into the table. So if you have, like, let's say for example, an Excel, you can import from an Excel file and dump it into the table. So also you can see like, what's it called? So I mentioned solution, and this is the last part I'm just going to be talking about. So if you look at this solution, I have something called Hospital Asset Tracker. And if I click on this is what the solution looks like. You have all of the objects. So I have one agent within the solution. I have 3 different apps within the solution. I have 5 tables. that is being used for the solution, right? So this is what the solution looks like, right? If you come up, you're going to see the solution property, the display name, hospital access tracker, the package type, basically the publisher and all these things. So you see all of, if you click on this part is the objects. Everything that is being used will be what will be moved into the solution. Say, for example, I want to move in the table that I just created. I just click on add existing and I look for the table that I just created called sales orders. And I just select it and add it. And that's it, inshallah. We can leverage on the content that is being shared to kind of like see what's it called, how to use the, you can learn more on that, on those, on the, what's it called, the reference link that has been shared. So inshallah, let's take a quick one.
The quiz.
The quiz. We're going to take the quiz now. So we have like just 4 minutes to do the quiz.
Don't worry. Let's just.
Okay, I think.
Let's take questions.
Okay, I think we can just take questions.
Salah is in 8 minutes. People want to make wudu.
Yeah, Salah is at 5 o'clock. So let's just, in 2 minutes we go. So if anybody has any question, please feel free to let us know. Jazakumullah khair.